right, we are ready. Okay, well, maybe not all of us are ready. Well, some of us have to be ready. We got to be ready now. Well, it's time to start class, of course. All right, we're going to talk today about having a sore throat. This is from lesson 9 in our Speak Now 2 book. So let's get started. This next 4 lessons is probably the most important, especially at this time with the COVID-19 ravaging through the world. It's very important to know what you're feeling, how you're feeling, and what you should do in the event that things are happening. So let's get started. As you can see in here, the face is wearing a mask. It's highly recommended to wear a mask. I know that this is something that within Korean culture, it's very common. If you're feeling that you're not well, you wear a mask. And it's not to make sure that you don't get sick, but it's to help so that you don't make other people sick. And that is the actual purpose of wearing a mask. It's not really to protect you from getting sick. It does protect you, but it doesn't protect you as much as it helps. If you are sick, it helps you from making other people sick. So wearing a mask is always a good thing. So let's get started and learn a little bit about I have a sore throat today. So now there are many ways that we can describe how we feel, and we use some of the vocabulary here. A cold, a headache, a sore throat, a fever. These are all different symptoms that we would have when we're sick. Now, be careful when you say my head hurts. You can have a headache or your head hurts from something that's happened to you, like a car accident. When you have sore versus an illness, be very careful. For example, a sore throat. Oh, I have a sore throat. That means that your inside throat is sore. Oh, I have a sore neck. It means your muscles on the outside are sore. You can have a pain, an injury, and you can say, oh, I'm hurt. But let's say you have a sore back because you've been exercising too much. You might say, oh, I have a sore, stiff back. Or if you were in a car accident, I have a hurt back. It's something different. Now, on this list, you have a cold and the flu. Now, these are two different things that come around every year. They're common, they happen, and when they come around, there's not much we can do to prevent them. But if you are not feeling well, the best thing you can do is to stay at home.
Yes.
You don't want to be going out and visiting people in public. By
No.
doing that, you're going to spread the sickness around and you're probably going to make other people sick. And you don't want that to happen. Too many times, I'm guilty of this myself. Too many times, you'll not feel your best, but you'll still go to work or still go to school. In those cases, make sure you're wearing a mask. Make sure you're staying safe. Right now with COVID-19, if you're not feeling well, definitely stay home. Make sure you get away from whatever's causing you a problem. But get yourself healthy and then come back to class. Now, here we had headache, stomach ache, ACHE. Now, aches can happen everywhere. Oh, I woke up bad. Oh, my shoulder aches. My hip is aching. It's just a pain that won't go away. It's long term. Stomach ache. Now, be careful when you say stomach ache because there are actually two areas that people confuse when you say, oh, I have a stomach ache. Is it a stomach ache? Is it up high? Is it from something that you ate in your stomach? Are you nauseous? Are you feeling like you're going to throw up? Or, oh, my stomach hurts. Or do you have a belly ache? Belly is when it's farther down. And this is when you might have constipation, diarrhea, or gas. And a belly ache usually is much lower. Another one that comes in here, I don't like it very much, but this is also has to do with a woman's monthly cycle when her period comes in. One of the things that a good friend of mine in college used to say is that she never used to say it was her time of the month. She would just say, Mom's visiting. And that would let everybody know what it was, what the pains were. And for those who don't understand, Mom's visiting, it's Mother Nature. Mother Nature saying, hey, guess what? You're a woman, it's your time. So that was her way of saying it in a polite conversation. Now, you can say it any way that you want, but other things that come up, I do understand these things are a problem. Dry skin and eczema, along with atopy, these come around and are problems that we all have to deal with. How you deal with them, that's up to you. As we move into the winter, dry skin becomes more of a problem. So figure out what you're going to do for it. There are some things that you can tell your friends or something to do when something happens, like get some rest, go see a doctor. Be very, very grateful you live in South Korea. South Korea medicine is actually very, very good, and it's also inexpensive. The price that you pay to go see a doctor here in Korea, you could not even get to visit the doctor for what you might pay for staying in the hospital for a couple of days. You can't even see a doctor for that little of money in some places in the world. So be very, very grateful. If you have to go see the doctor, that's great. Go see the doctor. Follow what the doctor tells you. And always, always do your best. Stay in bed. Sometimes sleep is the best medicine. All right. Now we're going to listen to a conversation between Tracy and Layla, and they're going to talk about things that they're doing and how they are actually feeling. So let's take a listen to that.
Hi, Tracy. I'm not feeling too well.
Oh? What's the matter, Layla?
I have a sore throat.
That's too bad. I hope it's not the flu. Have you seen a doctor?
No, I'm fine, really. I think I just have a cold.
You have a fever. Why don't you go home and rest?
Good idea. Can you take notes for me in class?
Sure. I hope you feel better soon.
Thanks.
There's a big problem. She needs to go wash her hands now. If she really has a cold and she's put her hand on the forehead to find out of a fever, even that small touch can possibly transmit disease. Now, the good thing is that most diseases don't transmit that easily. So simply washing your hands, your skin is a good barrier against most diseases. So that's a good little bit of soap, water, and you're good to go. Recommendation for when you wash your hands, uh, they recommend sing the happy birthday song to yourself 2 to 3 times while you're washing your hands. You should wash your hands in warm water with soap, and you should wash your hands for at least 30 to 90 seconds. And that's about how long it takes you to sing the happy birthday song 3 times, about 90 seconds. It's also a trick for how long you should brush your teeth. And now, if you have a sore throat, now there are some people who are like me who end up talking a lot and end up getting sore throats because of overuse of their voice. I do it all the time. Almost every year, I lose my voice for at least 2 or 3 weeks. It happens, knock on wood, it hasn't happened for a while now, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen again soon. And if you do have a cold, if you do have something, take the time off. She says, can you take notes for me? In the 21st century, notes are easy. Take pictures, simple. In the past, it was a lot harder, and taking notes could be, having to have to do something like share notes and let somebody copy them. Copying is never a good thing because copying can lead to cheating. But copying your notes and helping out, that's always a good thing to do for your friends. You can also relay the message to your teacher. Now, in the 21st century, You should also let your teacher know that you're not going to be in class. But it's always better. Play it safe, be safe, go home. It's a good way to stay and get healthy. Now, this is where it becomes a little strange. In the workplace, you may find yourself in a work environment that does not give you time off if you're sick. You may have to pay someone to cover classes or to cover your work and have sick time. Be careful with the job that you're looking at and find out what the requirements are for sick time. You should be allowed to have a few days off for sick time, but don't expect that. Find out what the requirements are for your job. As you listen and talk to people, find out what is wrong with them. Sometimes they could have a cold, they could have a headache. It's amazing what just a little bit of stress or lack of water or things can be and having a headache. Now, that being said, one of the things that is not an acceptable excuse for being sick is a hangover. No!
No, God!
No, hangovers are
No, God,
not
please,
an
no!
excuse
No!
for being
No!
sick. No, they're not.
No!
When you have a hangover, it means that you've gone out and gone drinking. Now, I've used this example many times, and I want you to understand alcohol, what it does, if you drink a little bit of alcohol, alcohol is a thief, and alcohol will steal happiness from tomorrow. Is today you can drink alcohol and it'll sometimes add happiness to your day today. But what it does is it's going to steal the happiness from tomorrow. Now, most people sleep about 8 hours a day. And so you can drink alcohol and steal a little bit of happiness. You probably won't remember your dreams. You may not have as many dreams as you normally would, but you can steal the happiness from that time with little or no effect. But when you drink too much alcohol, you steal happiness from your wake time. And that's when you end up with a hangover and still being technically drunk. Helpful thing when it comes to test time, especially when you're coming to your one-on-one speaking test with me, don't come into the test with a hangover. It shows disrespect, not only to me, but also to yourself, that you don't respect yourself enough to take the test seriously. Just a piece of free advice. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. But we're going to move on and talk about what you can do to describe your health problems. Describing your health problems is a very important thing because you want to be accurate when you describe it to your doctor or to what's going on. Now, to say, oh, I have a cold, I have the flu, my stomach hurt, my knees hurt. My knees hurt every time the weather changes. And for the past few days, we've had strange thunderstorms late at night. Trust me, I've known about every single one of them. My knee tells me every time, hey, here comes a thunderstorm. Oh, not again. Something about getting old. It happens to us all. So making a suggestion of what people should do. I think you should drink this, or I think you should do that. There are some things that people recommend that are actually good for your health, especially when you're sick. Chicken soup has always been proven to be a good thing to eat when you're sick. Don't ask me why, but it does help you feel better. Here in Korea, chicken juke also serves the same purpose. It gives you something calories, something to eat. Now, ladies, this is a family secret that has been passed down through the Betts family for many generations. Three is that when you're nauseous, and my mom learned about this when she was pregnant with me because she had very bad morning sickness. Morning sickness is what happens. You get pregnant and then you start throwing up because your body's going through changes. But this works well if you're nauseous and your stomach is upset about anything. Sprite, cider, or 7-Up are your friends. Now, this is disgusting, I know, but hear me out. These are your friends when you're nauseous. Drink them. The crazy thing is that when you drink it, it's gonna give you some sugar, it's gonna give you some energy, but if you have to throw up, it'll taste the same both directions. You won't have that acidy taste. So if you feel like you're gonna be throwing up a lot, cider and 7-Up and Sprite can become your best friends. Not cola, not milk, avoid those things. But cider, for some reason, the clear, bubbling fluid with a little bit of sugar in it, it'll taste the same both directions and it won't leave that ugly vomit smell and taste in your mouth. I don't know why it works that way, but it does. Final little health tip. If you have a sore throat and cold, get yourself a cup, put a little bit of salt into it and warm water and gargle. Now, it's going to burn your throat. It's going to feel like your throat is on fire, and it is. The salt is cleaning out the bacteria and inflamed areas on your throat. Highly, highly effective at cleaning out whatever's in your throat causing you to be sick. It may not make you well, but it may help you to get better faster. These are just a couple of tricks that I've learned over my time, and I want to make sure that I pass them on to the next generation. So remember those. So if you need to go get some medicine, go and get some over-the-counter medicine. If that doesn't work, then please definitely go see your doctor as soon as you can. It may take you a little time to go in to see the doctor, but get in to see the doctor as quickly as possible. The sooner you get medication on board, the sooner that you get it going, the quicker you'll become healthy again. All right, now looking at these four people here have different things that have happened to them. We have a stiff neck, insomnia, a sprained ankle, and a bee sting. Now, a stiff neck usually means that when you've slept or you've exercised, you have extended the tendons or muscles too far. And you may end up with a neck that hurts, like, oh, I can't turn my neck this way, or I can't do this. And it'll be there for 2 or 3 days. There's not much you can do with that. They do have some things that you can rub on. Usually something with menthol in it will help to relieve the stress and help undo it. Along with the stiff neck also come cramps. Now, some of you may never have had cramps, but most people who've exercised will have experienced at least one cramp in their life. And some cramps hurt more than others. But trust me, if you've ever had your tongue cramp, you will know that there's nothing worse than your tongue cramp. You cannot unstretch it. You can't pull your tongue. It doesn't work that way. But you have different things you can do if you have a stiff neck or a cramp. Insomnia. Oh, this sometimes happens if you have too much on your mind. There are some techniques, some videos you can watch on YouTube that teach you how to deal with insomnia. There's no perfect way to get rid of it. Some people suffer through insomnia, and almost everybody has periods in their life where they have insomnia, where they just can't sleep. Happens. All I can say is to try to sleep or to try to make your body relax. Sprained ankles. Ankles and wrists and fingers are the most common things to sprain. And what it means is that you've just overextended the tendons or pulled them out of place. You haven't broken anything. That's a whole different category of pain. But sprain a joint, be sure to take your time and heal it. Keep it elevated, keep it iced. They actually recommend switching between ice and heat back and forth. The ice reduces the swelling, the heat promotes healing. And then insect stings. Ooh, insect stings. In my lifetime, I've been stung by many, many different insects. I have not been stung by the murder hornet yet. Don't know what a murder hornet is? Look it up. And you'll understand why I'm not ready to be stung by one. I've seen them. I've seen 2 alive and I've seen 2 dead. I do not want to see any more. But bee stings and wasp stings, they hurt. I've been stung by bees several times. Um, they hurt. You can deal with the pain. Actually, bee stings are not that bad. Actually, the pain from a bee sting can actually be used in some medicine to make you feel better. But anyway, I digress. But certain stings can hurt more. Along with stings, be careful of insect bites, specifically spiders, ants, ticks, and bed bugs. Here in Korea, all of those exist, and when they do bite, they leave stuff behind. And of course, the ever present and the most famous one, the mosquito. When you get stung or bitten, find some ways to deal with the pain. One of the things you can do, slap. Don't scratch the itch, slap it instead of scratching it. For some reason, it will help diffuse the pain and the itch a little bit. If it's too much, go get something that will help you. All right, now we're going to listen to 4 conversations and circle the problem that best matches for their conversation. So ready, set, and action.
1.
So, how was your weekend?
It was so-so. Look what I did.
That looks really painful. What happened?
I was playing tennis and I fell.
Oh no. Does it hurt?
Oh, yeah. Luckily, I didn't break it. I went to a doctor. She took an x-ray and just put a bandage on it. But it's really difficult to hold anything. I can't even write or type with it.
I would think it's a good idea not to use it at all.
I guess.
2.
Did that medicine I gave you do any good?
Well, I feel a bit better today,
That's good.
but it hasn't completely gone away. I'm sure it was the fish I had at the restaurant. I don't think it was very fresh.
Yeah, it was probably that. The chicken I had was fine.
I don't think I want to go back there.
Try not to eat anything too oily or spicy for a few days. Just rice and soup would be good. And drink lots of water.
3.
How do I look?
Not too good. They're both really red, especially the left one.
Still?
I'm afraid so. Are they sore?
Not at all. And I can still see perfectly fine.
Why don't you get some medicine for it? You don't want it to get any worse.
I suppose.
Better yet, I suggest seeing a doctor. You can't be too careful.
Do you think it was the contacts?
Maybe. It's a good idea to wear your glasses for a while.
4.
I need another aspirin. It's not going away. Actually, I think it's getting worse.
That's not good. Why don't you put a cold cloth on your forehead?
Good idea.
And I'll turn off this light. The bright lights don't help.
Thanks.
Why don't you go and lie down in bed?
Okay.
And I'll check on you in a little while.
All right, so you're gonna have to go back, listen to those again, and then fill in for the B what you think happened to the person, and figure out whether the statement is true or false for them. Each of those problems has their things. There are things you can do to make them better, but what do they suggest? Did they suggest something that would help? All right, now, when we practice in class, we're going to see if you can identify people's illnesses by what they describe. Now, some of this may be pantomime by saying, or, oh, and pantomiming what is wrong with you. And we'll see how many of them you can figure out. But we're going to do that as a game. Don't worry, we'll do that in class. So let's move on to everybody's favorite part of homework. I think I'm getting sick now. Let's see if we can make it better. All right, so now we want to know, when would you actually go do these things? When will you go to the doctor? Do you always go to the doctor for this? Sometimes go to the doctor for this? Never go, or it depends. So for example, if you have a cough, you may want to say, I sometimes go to the doctor, or I always go. But sometimes you're going to put it right there in the middle. Don't put it in one side or the other, and see what you can come up with. Then move on and write your health problems into these. I have a blank. Then what suggestion would you give for that? I have a headache. Now, if you have a headache, first thing you might do is you might take some Tylenol or some aspirin, see if that works. As was suggested by one of the conversations that you listened to just a few minutes ago, you may want to go lay down. There are two real classifications of headaches. You have a headache and you have a migraine. Migraines can be a lot more difficult. There are other ones, of course, but I'm generalizing. If you have a headache that moves towards being a migraine, one of the best things you can do is to go to a quiet room, lie down, close your eyes, put a cool cloth on your head or an ice pack on your head, and just relax. I don't recommend music. I don't recommend anything. It's a cool, dark room is probably best. My friend in college suffered from migraine headaches, and when they would come on, you could tell because she was in a lot of pain. Turns out she figured out what the problem was years later, but it still happens. So do what you can to avoid them, avoid the pain. Find out what you can offer for a suggestion for some of those illnesses. Now, when we're talking about getting better, we might also have things where something happens. Some of my students may have sent me emails and said, hey, teacher, I'm not feeling good. I'm not coming back to class for a little while. Okay, we'll figure that out. So you need to send in a message. Now, we haven't talked much about actual letter writing. There was the letter in the previous lesson in lesson 8, but email is what's the most common way to communicate now. So in this one, we have this email. It's from Alyssa Reed, subject, so sorry. Date, June 8th, 2013 or 2013. To Lena. Hi, Lena. I'm so sorry to hear you aren't feeling well. Stomach aches are terrible. It's a good idea to stay home and get some rest. Don't try to eat anything. It will just make it worse. Why don't you try some ginger and honey? I heat some water and put in a teaspoon of each. It always makes my stomach feel much better. We will miss you at dinner tonight. I think Nora, Hannah, Marisol, and Valerie will be there. It'll be great to see everyone. Too bad you won't be there. I'll take pictures on my phone and send them to you. We'll do it again when you feel better. Take care, Alyssa. Now, everybody offers some kind of suggestions when someone's sick. I did it in this lesson. I've given you a couple of suggestions that I personally use, and I use them frequently. Honey tea. Honey does seem to help people get better. When you are sick, especially if you've got nausea or can't do things, you need a little bit of sugar to give you some energy. So figure out what you can do. And everybody has their own way of dealing with your body. Find out what works for you. What works for me may not work for you, but then again, give it a try. All right, now our last section for this unit, take a look at the writing. One of your friends has the flu and can't come to an event with you. What would you do with them? How would you write them in email saying, oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. What are you going to do? What will you do to reschedule and things like that? Then share your emails with your classmates. And if you can't share it with your classmates, share it with yourself. What would you send as a response? All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, remember, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. This is COVID-19. We want to make sure we keep everything clean so that there is no problems. Have a great and wonderful day, and I will see you next time in class. So have yourself a very good day. Bye-bye.